Sex doll face? What kind of fucking clickbait shit is this? I swear to God, it's not clickbait. I've been teaching for a long time, so we're going to go over some things. We're going to talk about a lot of different techniques, and we're going to do some singing. So if you want to do that with me, let's do it. All right, so as I mentioned, I've been teaching for about 12 years. As you teach these different concepts that are difficult to break down and difficult to teach in some ways, you come across certain ways of identifying problems or moving forward with certain fundamentals and such. And some of those, of course, when they're coming from me, are going to be fucking ridiculous. And that's the way I like to live my life, making myself laugh and hopefully some others along the way. So, what the fuck does sex doll face mean? We're going to get into this. I'm going to try to break it down as much as I can, and what it means to have this type of openness and coordination and what that means. But let me say a couple things here first. First of all, I have a lot of people commenting on YouTube all the time and then on Patreon and stuff, and I want to address a couple things. First of all, some of the concepts that I'm sharing, I've been teaching for a long time, and I've been singing and doing a lot of this stuff for a long time. Some of these concepts are going to be very difficult, and that doesn't mean just difficult to understand. It just means very difficult to implement, especially for newcomers and people that haven't done much of this stuff. A lot of people, when it comes to wanting to be good at something, especially in America, want things very fast, so they want to do something very, very quickly and achieve it. So then I get comments like, you know, we'll do a video on like heavy distortion or something like that, and people be like, when I do this, it makes my throat hurt. What now? And you're like, what? Like, it's not quite that simple. You can't just watch a YouTube video and be like, oh yeah, I got it figured out. Fuck, that was easy. So please know that I'm never trying to be condescending or talk down to anybody. But there's going to be things that I'm sharing that are going to be completely outside of the realm of what you're able to do. Doesn't mean that you can't try them. Herein lies the point of these videos anyway, is to plant seeds in your mind. Hopefully some part will connect and some part maybe will not. And to be a part of the journey of your singing and things. When it comes to me, and I'm going to have a video here soon sharing my personal journey, ups and downs of singing, getting better, getting worse, etc. This shit takes a long time. So here's another small explanation. If you're getting into playing guitar and you really are into like people that can play very fast or something, some of the concepts I'm sharing, like distortion and compression, are similar to like sweep picking, which is to play stuff very fast and very fluidly. And if you just started learning guitar, you wouldn't go to one of those videos like, I want to learn how to sweep pick, and then be like, this is not working. What now? These concepts are difficult. So, getting that bitching out of the way, what the fuck do I mean by sex doll face? Now, my students know what I'm talking about. Some of the people that have watched some of my videos know that I've been implementing this slowly into a couple videos. It is so very important, and so much stuff comes from this that I couldn't not share it. And once again, and especially in a comedic way where I can talk about it like this. What I'm perpetuating here is the idea of making this face like this, and having everything, and I do mean almost everything, come from that place. When we think about opera, you might already see some of that face like this coming through the way that they're singing almost all the time. It's open throat, keeping the throat open, getting the jaw out of the way, and staying relatively relaxed, not to mention keeping the head down a little bit so that we're not going like this and stretching the vocal cords in the incorrect way. So that's what sex doll face is for right now, is a way of coordinating your muscles to accommodate for the things you're about to do. So we're going to start off with this, and plenty of my students know this because we've been talking about it recently, which is vocal fry and flageolet. When we talk about these things, we're already going to our sex doll face like this and keeping ourselves open. Now I'm going to mention this as well. When you're doing exercises like some of the stuff we're going to go through and I'm going to talk about, I want you to imagine the back of your throat like there's a coin there, perhaps maybe a silver dollar or something, if anybody knows what those are anymore, or a sphere or a ball. We're going to hold that in the back of the throat, right where the uvula hangs down, so that we're perpetuating this openness like this. As we rise, a lot of you are going to be changing your sex doll face to something like this. And that's not what we're going to try to do here. We're going to try to maintain an openness and this face all the time. So there's things moving and there's mechanical, muscular things happening, but for the most part, I can maintain this face. Herein lies the point of the video, right? So, first of all, imagine that right where the uvula hangs down, imagine that open circular space. We are trying to maintain that circular space regardless of where we are in our range, low, high, in the middle of our bridge, wherever we are, we're trying to maintain that circular space. If you feel your larynx rising and you feel that that space is starting to get pressed down like this, then you're probably going to flip and your voice is not going to work as well. You're pulling tension. And if you look into a mirror, your body language is going to change. We're going to move away from this face I keep talking about. And again, you're going to move into some more tense kind of crispy fucking thing. So if anything, as you get better at this, we would maybe want that ball shape to open vertically, open more like this. So first, remember that if we practice vocal fry and we practice it through our entire range, it is a light coordination, a light way of showing us how to do something, but also how to move through our entire range from top to bottom, not just in chest, head, everything. Move through our entire range in a comfortable, light way. And then if we can do that, we just start adding a little bit more chord closure, a little bit more weight. And if we have trouble along the way, we back up and we go back towards vocal fry. I cannot tell you that enough. Try that. Keep trusting in that. Your foundation needs to be built upon things like this that are simple and relaxed. And then we go and we put more weight into them as we can. So anyway, we don't really need a piano for this, but depends on where you are. That's fucking loud. Sorry if I just blew your head up. Hopefully that's better. So if we start off with this, I want you to do this with me again. We're not forcing anything. We're not going for a perfect sound. We're actually trying to stay as close to that sound as we can. And a lot of people are going to have trouble with this, and that's okay. Keep trying it, though. The good thing about this is that, you know, this isn't fucking years and years of effort to be able to go, it's just a little trickery of the throat, a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of letting your voice do what it needs to do with you getting out of the way. So do that with me a couple more times. We're singing ah, or you can go with all. I'm also not moving to falsetto. I'm not going ah. That is changing my entire physical face and everything. Oh, and we're not doing that. We're trying to maintain a certain level of chord closure. Oh. Now again, if you're getting closer to your bridge and this is happening, and you're getting louder, instead we're going to be getting quieter. You're going to be trying to correct your larynx from rising by adding more of a open shape in the back of the throat, sex doll face, or adding ooh on the top. Oh, oh, making sure to keep this nice open roundness. Oh. Now, what you're hearing me enter into in the top is basically a form of mixed voice, but moving towards what's called flageolet. It is a very small, stretched kind of place for the voice, and it's very kind of easy to do, but not that easy to find. Especially if you're somebody that sings heavy, you might be blowing your vocal cords apart too much and putting them through a little bit too much of the ringer every day, and this might not be easy for you to find. This is just a level of chord closure. Again, it's not some heavy-duty crazy thing, but we're just finding it very lightly. This is my go-to #1 warm-up. I'm going to perform tonight for about 3 hours. On the way to the show, I'm going to be sliding and stretching my vocal cords, stretching them out, then getting back in, opening everything up, then stretching, and then pulling a little bit more weight in, a little bit more weight in. This is my go-to thing. So anyway, you're hearing me enter into a smaller, tinier sound up in the head voice range, which is called flageolet. If you can get there, fantastic. The larynx will be moving itself down. you should be able to slowly, with chord closure, get this to be very high. Meaning you can actually take this past your head voice, top of your head voice range. I might not be able to right now. So I'm almost up to a C6 there. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to do that on stage. Anyway. Let's take it more strategically here so that you maybe can know that you're going through your bridge in case you're newer to this. So here would be through most males' bridges, Jeff Bridges. Females might have to try to do this an octave higher, but we're just lightly doing this. If you're having trouble keeping your chords together and making more concise, clear tone, then go back to vocal fry. Sextol face the whole way. Should you be supporting under this, breathing correctly, all this? No. You don't need to worry about that many things at the same time. We're just making a sound. If you listen, I'm going to do a couple going back down. Listen and try to put yourself in my body, in the back of my throat, just listening to that sound in the back of my throat. You're going to hear that sound expand as I go higher. Oh. So that moves me to my next point. I'll go back down here. So we talked about the ball again. So what the fuck does this have to do with anything, right? Again, screaming, distortion, compression, mixed voice, all of that stuff comes from this foundation and this basis. When you start to get this down, everything will become so much easier. And one of the main problems that you're solving with this kind of exercise or with these warm-ups, etc., is teaching yourself that when the larynx feels like it's going up, it ain't going to work. Nothing's going to work. You're not going to be able to go over your bridge. You're going to be pulling more tension into the face, the head, everything, your vocal cords. If you want a clear idea of what's happening, we have your vocal folds like this. When that larynx rises, the space in between here gets harder to accommodate for. The pressure gets more building and harder to maintain. And your vocal cords are the same length. You're using the same length of the vocal cords. Other muscles are creeping and trying to keep them together until ultimately they can't be kept together. When we lower the larynx, or we do what's referred to as maintaining a neutral larynx, which is to say not letting the larynx rise, we're stretching the vocal cords like this. We're elongating the vocal tract. So that's how we sing higher. There are no other ways other than elongating in some way, shape, or form the vocal tract. There's compression and things like that, but these things are all based upon each other, building more healthy habits. So that feeling is something I've talked about in plenty of videos. I talked about learning mixed voice and recognizing that when I felt a tilting sensation, like this, going higher, I knew that I was going down the right road because the other way didn't work. Or I would be building too much tension and I would remember to pull my body back in, like this, and then I could go higher. So that tilting that you're doing right there, hopefully finding, is key in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. So it gets us to something we're going to refer to as open throat technique, and I've already mentioned this, but I want to take the same sounds. Again, we don't need a complicated scale or anything like that. This is going through most people's bridges right here again. And we're just going to do this now with a little bit more chord closure, but we're going to use the vowels to our benefit. So we're moving from O to U, first paying attention to the back of the throat again, maintaining this face. Like this. Like you're getting ready to go, oh. So if I go, oh, with a little bit more resonance, a little bit more power, if you will. Oh. Right there, I'm going perfectly through my bridge. You can't even hear my flip or anything like that. And that's the key and the goal here. Oh, 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 Now, if I can't do this, again, backtrack. Oh, 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 oh. All you should be thinking about is the back of that throat. Oh, oh. See how that's working? Open throat. It's one of the key elements of singing higher, of mixed voice, of all this stuff again. Now, let's make it a little bit more complicated. And like I said, we're getting up and running very fast here. So if you are struggling with one of these steps, you're probably not going to be able to do the other steps. But I love giving all the information and making this increasingly more and more difficult so that people can follow along. If you can, come back to the video if you can. Anyway, we're going to add a cry into this sound. Somebody long ago on YouTube said something about, look, first of all, everybody wants to fight about voice types. Who gives a fuck? Oh, well, you said that this guy's a baritone, and you said that... Who fucking cares if somebody's bridge is right here or right here? It doesn't matter. And maybe you worked with somebody and they told you how much it does matter. Doesn't matter. Just figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at or whatever, and work on these things. It's not night and day like, oh, well, I'll never be able to do that because that is voice type. No, that's not true. Anyway, no need to go over that stuff. But somebody wanted to fight about what Pavarotti was, and when he gets to a higher age, he said he needs to adjust it like a middle C or whatever. Adjusting, in opera terms or whatever, that all that stuff means is that otherwise your larynx would have been rising and tension would have been building a certain way, and you need to adjust and correct that and go the opposite direction, essentially, which is to pull the larynx back down. In opera, they might just have open throat. Oh, like that, where I went over my bridge. I had to adjust by going, oh, and pulling my larynx back down. I can also, though, it's in opera again, cry into the sound, which is putting a certain level of compression above the vocal cords, more up here, and allowing me to accommodate for pressure a little bit easier, have a little bit more of a powerful sound. If I lightly try to put that in, again, crying means like this, and we're trying to find a compression sound up here, like this. I can get a lot of power from those muscles because I've been working those for a long time. Anyway, if I go, oh, just like we've been doing, I'm going to try to implement a cry sound into that. Oh, oh. Now I have an even more connected, mixed, full kind of sound. And it's also becoming a little bit more difficult to tell if I'm in more of a chest resonance kind of place or more of a head voice resonance. And that's just because of that sound. That's literally because I'm going, putting that over top. Again, if you imagine a little kid that fucking lost his ball at the park, and then Tony said, come in, he took the cup from me, and any of that, that's all the same. That stuff. Almost feels like two different sets of vocal cords in a sense. So, sorry for the big explanation. Tends to be how this happens. Here we go. Oh, open throat first. Then trying to cry a little bit into the sound. Don't go too heavy yet. Oh, should be up here. Should feel like it's being processed almost in a nasal pharyngeal space. Oh, 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 oh. Two more. Oh, oh. One more. Oh, oh. Now, I'm going to take this over to Patreon because I want to extend this lesson further. If you want to support me over there, I'm always giving more tips and more lessons, and there's different ways that we can do things. I'm adding a tier here finally, hopefully this week, where you can reach out to me personally via phone number and send me clips, and I'll give you feedback directly. So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to do to help people over there. I appreciate you watching this. I hope this makes a little bit of sense to you, and I hope the comedic point of all this is not completely lost on people where they're like, dude, that didn't make any sense, and fuck you and all the other wonderful people on the internet. So again, I'll show you one more time here how I can go through all the levels of difficulty and distortion, all the stuff from this face, from that part, that small little vocal fry part. If I do this again. Sex doll face all the way. Tell your friends. Okay, bye.